Now, Karnataka has joined a growing list of states that have banned firecrackers amidst the coronavirus pandemic just days before Diwali. Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa said that his government has decided to ban firecrackers in the context of the coronavirus pandemic. And this is the BJP-ruled state in the south, the first state nationally to ban firecrackers less than a week after Odisha, Delhi and Rajasthan to ban them. All of these states citing concerns over the air quality in the winter and the coronavirus pandemic as well.
ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ದೀಪಾವಳಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪಟಾಕಿಯನ್ನು ಆರಿಸೋದನ್ನು ನಿಷೇಧ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋ ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ತಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಆದೇಶ ಹೊರಡಿಸೋರಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಈ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಬೇರೆ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಈ ಬಾರಿ ಪಟಾಕಿಯನ್ನು ಆರಿಸೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಷೇಧ ಮಾಡೋರಿದ್ದೇವೆ.
Karnataka will be having a quieter Deepavali this year and also one with better air quality after a decision by the Karnataka government to actually ban the bursting of firecrackers this year. This is, of course, in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa said that it has been discussed, the issue has been discussed, and the state was taking the decision to ban fireworks this Deepavali. And an order would soon be issued, and he also said it was because of COVID-19 and the pandemic. Now, of course, the COVID-19 virus has been known to affect the lungs of patients, and experts do feel that clearer, better air quality will actually help. The sound pollution, of course, has a bad effect on senior citizens, on patients, on many people who are disturbed by the loud noises. Animals as well have often suffered because of the loud noises of crackers during Deepavali. The order is still to be issued, and that will probably make it clear as to what the penalties are for those who actually violate the Karnataka state's decision to ban the bursting of crackers. It will be clearer then what if the penalties will be for those violating that order. But for now, at least, if the Karnataka state government has its way, there will be no bursting of crackers during Deepavali this year in Karnataka. Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.
All right, so now the Delhi government, remember, on Thursday imposed a blanket ban on firecrackers, including those branded green, but this only between the 7th and the 30th of November. This, of course, with the city reeling under the impact of hazardous air quality, a steep rise in the number of COVID-19 infections. The background to all of this, the Supreme Court had in October 2018 prohibited the use of firecrackers in the Delhi NCR, allowing only green firecrackers, which are supposedly less polluting because they're made of less polluting substances. They trigger limited smoke, etc., and noise. Is this enough? Let's go across to our experts today, party representatives. We have Raghav Chadha of the Aam Aadmi Party, Abhishek Dutt of the Congress, Khemchand Sharma of the BJP, and Santosh Harish, a fellow at the Centre for Policy Research. Santosh, let me start with you. Of course, this is a huge step forward. The people of the National Capital Region will be heaving a sigh of relief. But is it enough? We're 1 week away from Diwali after months of having blue skies, something unheard of in the national capital over the last decade for sure. We're back to nightmarish air pollution levels.
Look, I think this was an important step, a necessary step, in fact. Right? Firecrackers, we know, aren't the only source of air pollution by any stretch of imagination. Like you said, the levels are already hazardously high, but it makes an already bad situation much worse.
Yeah.
The impacts of fireworks are short-lived, just for a few days, but during those days, the impact is substantial. And this year in particular, in addition to the high levels of exposure and of pollution exposure and its impacts on asthma and so forth, public health research, experts have repeatedly pointed out that high pollution exposure can also can worsen COVID. It can increase the severity of the infection, and it can increase the transmission of the virus. So I do think that this was an important step. Bans are a very blunt instrument. Ideally, people would voluntarily choose to celebrate the festival without fireworks or do so modestly, but it becomes essential to use such instruments because we know that otherwise, folks may not be quite as responsible as we'd like them.
All right. Raghav Chadha, the Aam Aadmi Party finally acting on this matter, even though it was in 2018 that the Supreme Court had spoken up on this issue. It took a pandemic, it took thousands of lives to be lost in the capital for the government to take this step?
Look, first of all, the government has always been cognizant of and alive to the issue of air pollution. And I think it's the only government in the country that has demonstrated the willpower, the administrative might, the political will to fight air pollution, and that state government happens to be our state government, the Kejriwal government. Now, of course, the Supreme Court has intervened in this matter in the past as well, and we have, in a suo motu manner, also notified the that green crackers and green crackers alone could be used for celebration purposes, etc., in and around Diwali previously. But this time around, because of course of the pandemic, a raging pandemic that all of us are witnessing, the worsening levels of air pollution, both the pandemic as well as the air pollution both impact the respiratory health of an individual, adversely impact the respiratory health of an individual. It became absolutely essential to take such drastic measures. And these are desperate times that call for desperate measures. And quite frankly, the government of Delhi is doing all that it can. But coming back to your original question with which you started this program, which is that, is this enough? All that we're doing, is it enough? I don't think so. I think a lot more needs to be done. I think we need cooperation from the entire North Indian belt. I think every state government from Punjab to Haryana to UP to Rajasthan need to realize that if industrial activities, if brick kilns, if the usage of DG sets, and in particular stubble burning continues in their states, of course that will have an adverse impact on the air quality index in Delhi. So therefore, I think all of us need to come together and fight this war. Delhi alone cannot fight it, though we're trying to do our best, doing what we can, what is in our jurisdiction and power, and perhaps even more. But we certainly need, our neighboring state governments and our partners to sort of help us in this fight against COVID-19 as well as against air pollution.
Abhishek Dutt, neighbouring states need to come together. The Aam Aadmi Party in Delhi can't do this alone. Neighbouring states like Rajasthan, neighbouring states like Punjab, where crop burning is adding to this problem.
See, there are two ways of fighting air pollution. One is what the neighbouring states have to do. Yes, collectively, the central government, along with the Supreme Court committee, has to take strong steps in controlling. And it doesn't make a difference to us whether it is Punjab, Rajasthan, Haryana, all of it. They have to come together because air is something that we all breathe, and it's not a state subject. But where the Delhi government is concerned, even the Delhi government has to take necessary steps. It's very shocking to see. Last 6 years, they haven't purchased a single DTC bus. Metro third phase is badly delayed.
Oh, that's incorrect.
Fourth phase, you're not even talking about. No, let me just complete, Raghav. When you were speaking, I didn't speak. So, there's a two-way approach that the government has to follow. That Delhi government on its own has to take strong steps. What is shocking and sad to see is 2nd November, Mr. Gopal Rai visited, the place that is in Old Delhi where the maximum crackers are being sold. So that day, the air quality level in Delhi was 432, and that is the day the licenses were issued. A lot of people were told to buy crackers, told to buy green crackers. They've invested money, and, this should have been done before. And now the government must come forward and also compensate these people who, on direction of the Delhi government, because Delhi government gave big ads saying, 800 public places have been notified. Even within the municipal corporation, a note was sent to the Delhi government. 1 second, Raghav, have patience. A note was sent to the Delhi government that, please don't encourage these things. But Delhi government insisted. 800 sites were notified by the Delhi government where crackers were being allowed to, to burst. This should not have happened, especially at the time when COVID-19 cases are going up. And at the same time, there's heavy air pollution in Delhi. Whether it comes from Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Delhi is suffering. And collectively, we need to find a solution to it. And definitely by encouraging first people to open up shops. I'll show you the data. 260
I'll just come back to you, for sure.
Applied for licenses. 260 people this year had applied for licenses. And last year, this figure was 97. So first you give them licenses. These are the licenses which were issued by the Delhi government along with Delhi police. And now, once they bought, we are again selling crackers. But this should have been done much before. It should have been properly planned by the Delhi government, which they didn't.
All right. Too little, too late. Raghav Chadha, your response.
Look, first of all, the problem of air pollution cannot be solved if members of the opposition and who are part of the ruling dispensation in Punjab and Rajasthan have such an adversarial approach. If they come on these channels and only do blame game, and half of the facts that have been quoted by the previous speaker are grossly inaccurate, and I quite frankly do not wish to waste my breath as far as rebutting those claims are concerned. Now, I think what we need is a very collaborative approach. I started my statement by saying that we need cooperation from other states. Is it not a fact that Punjab is run by the Congress party? Is it not a fact that the cases of stubble burning in Punjab, which are the primary cause of air pollution in Delhi in the months of October and November, has gone up by a whopping 60% in comparison to last October? Is it not a fact that due to industry in Rajasthan and in Punjab, the levels of air quality index in Delhi deteriorate? Air pollution doesn't understand state boundaries. It's not that the air pollution that originates in Punjab will not enter Delhi without paying toll tax, or it can be stopped at the borders. It doesn't understand state boundaries, and therefore air pollution is a North India issue. It is not a Delhi specific issue. We need a North India solution, and the solution will only come if we let go of such an adversarial
Abhishek
approach.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond, and then I need to go across to Santosh. Harish.
You know, this is the first thing I said. North India issue has to be fought together. But where Delhi government is concerned, their responsibilities can't be taken care by the Punjab Chief Minister or the Haryana Chief Minister. Why isn't the Delhi government buying buses? Why isn't the Delhi government working on the metro system? Who is saying we have not bought buses? And I will give you the RTI by your... One second, Raghav. I'll give you the RTI right away on the NDTV
let me give the closing word. Let me give the closing word to Santosh Harish, fellow at the Centre for Policy Research. Santosh, I think we're all in agreement that this has to be collaborative. As both Abhishek and Raghav Chadha are pointing out, air pollution knows no boundaries. It doesn't know where it has to stop before entering Delhi or Haryana or any of Punjab or any of the other states. So the fact that we have the first BJP state coming on board to say that they will also ban crackers, how important, how critical is it? Because, you know, supporters, certain, you know, Hindutva leaning supporters have just been going attacking anyone who has raised the issue of pollution when it comes to crackers on Diwali and try to paint them as being, you know, anti-Hindu, anti-Diwali, when it is none of that. It's just pro-life. Is that a huge step, in your opinion, to have a first BJP state coming on board to say no crackers in the run-up to Diwali? Last word to you.
Look, thanks. Like I said previously, fireworks play an important role, although it's a short-lived, for a few days type of role. In this particular year, taking this sort of strong stand on fireworks, I think, is quite crucial. I do hope that other states consider it. And like one of the previous speakers spoke, I wish this was a step that had been anticipated much earlier, as opposed to a couple of weeks before the festival. But that said, I think it's an important step, and I do hope that other states also follow. And I just want to concur with the other two speakers that yes, this is a multiple sources issue. This is not just about stubble burning, although yes, it's an important episodic source in these few weeks. And we need action throughout the year, and with this collaborative spirit that both the speakers alluded to.
Abhishek Dutt and Raghav Chadha, thank you all for joining us. We're going to continue to keep the focus on this issue of air pollution because none of us can escape its reach. Thank you all.